Hi friends, Joseph Anthony here. Welcome to another update video. This one from March 18th, and this one I've titled Equinox and Eclipse Season. And we're in that zone right now. We're making the transition as I'm doing this video into a new season, especially in the Northern Hemisphere where we celebrate the spring equinox, and I'll explain all of that as well. So I decided to put out this quick video to give you an update of what's going on and what I see coming. And again, these are trends, forecasts, what the patterns and the cycles are indicating of what may happen, what occurs. And I try to do the review also to give you an idea of what I was talking about in the previous month. So I'll touch upon that as well from the beginning of the month of March, because there was quite a bit of activity. And, I don't really watch the news, but I know what's going on, and I have to follow some of these stories in order to give you guys examples of what I see happening. So to begin here, I'm going to cover the astrology for the month from now until the end of the month. And then, of course, I will do the April astrology, which is really big. Okay, so let's go and take a look at the astrology right now as we speak. What we're looking at. We're looking at the sun in the position of Pisces as of the 18th. And it just, passed Neptune, its ruler. And so Sun conjunct Pisces tends to make us feel a little more sleepy, a little confused, a little bit more compassionate and more sensitive than normal. So, and this is totally normal because we also have 4 planets, as you can see here right now, still in Pisces. Now, Mars will also leave Aquarius and go into Pisces, and I'll cover that as well. But we're in a place right now within ourselves where we're feeling really uncertain about the waters we find ourselves in. This is because the Pisces energy senses things and it feels, and it's not quite sure what to make of these things. And we also have the planet of Uranus and Uranus and Jupiter in the sign of Taurus, which adds more feeling and sensitivity to the equation. And so for many, they sense something's coming. They're not sure. Is it going to be something with monetary systems? Is it going to be something with belief systems, food shortages, change in structured power structure changes, and that's all possible. But this is really about opening up to compassion and understanding and not really beating ourselves up, because Pisces has a tendency to beat itself up, feel sorry for itself, low self-worth at times. And so wherever the Pisces is in your actual birth chart, that's the area that you feel a little lost and a little weak, and you feel sorry for yourself. Anyway, but what I'm getting at here is the energy is starting to move into a more fiery realm, but it's going to take a little time. And I'll explain why. Because Mars, even though that is the ruler of Aries, will still be in a water sign, and we'll still have Saturn and Venus in water signs. So this trend will continue through the end of the month with this feeling, emotion, sensitivity, trying to figure things out. So this is totally normal. Now, again, I will be focusing in the United States' chart because, not just because we're going through the Pluto return, but since 2017, the United States has been bombarded by eclipses, 3 to be exact, and the next one coming on April the 8th. So there is a very strong focus on the United States here. And so what I'm seeing here's the Pisces energy as of today, Sun and Neptune in Pisces, along with Venus and Saturn. And so it's going through the 3rd house of communication. And it's all about thinking. It's all about processing. It's all about information that we're, trying to figure things out. So this is a quiet period because when things start to move forward, it'll definitely feel much faster. And I want to just go a quick review of what was going on around March the 9th, because Mars squared Uranus. Very important. This was a very strong alignment. And I want to show you some of the stuff that I saw. And I said here, Mars squares Uranus in the chart. Again, all about information, because here's Mars, here's Uranus. Again, I said something is trying to break through, something is trying to break free, taking chances, revelations, awarenesses, change to people's belief systems. And that's actually what's happening. I'm seeing more and more people that really never knew what was going on in the world, and they're starting to question everything. Whatever political leaning they had, they're starting to question everything, and that's what Uranus is doing right there. And as it squares Mars in Aquarius, the sign of humanity, it continues to awaken humanity. So whatever is happening right now, as I've said, we have a great awakening occurring that we're all paying attention to on some level. And so let me show you some of the stuff that was going on. Oh, we also had the new moon on the 10th. So we had a lot of energy building up at the beginning of the month. So let's look at some of the stories. Well, first off was on March the 5th, we had Super Tuesday here in the United States for the Republican candidates. And what did we have? We had a complete blackout. Facebook, Instagram, and some of these other places went down quickly, and it's like, okay, that a little fishy. It was being reported everywhere that Facebook and Instagram went down. Even the WhatsApp was going down. And I think I left a link to this story down below, but I got a kick out of this one. How many of you guys remember the old airplane movies? And that's where this scene is from. So I just thought this was really funny. Did somebody really pull the plug over there at Facebook headquarters? So anyway, but this post made a lot of sense here. What a coincidence, that these organizations all went down on Super Tuesday. Practice run for this time frame? Gee, I wonder what's going to happen, in November. And it seems to all be pointing in that direction once again, that something is going to stop these elections in November. And I think it's going to happen before then. So I don't think we're going to have time to go to November. I think it'll start in August, September, October. It'll be that whole time frame is a really tricky time frame to watch politically. But it's going to be a really interesting show. Anyway, but this is what was going on around that time frame. So they also discovered that in the Red Sea that there were the cables being cut as well for the internet. Gee, I wonder who did that. Okay, so I mean, obviously there's some sort of hidden hand that seems to be guiding and doing all this mischief on purpose, obviously, to keep information away from the public. So I mean, it's so obvious, it's so evident now. Also, we had somebody sent me this in Australia, and they live in Australia. This company, Bank West, is now closing all its branches and shifting to digital-only model. So no more, brick and mortar buildings down there to do some banking. It's all digital. This is a story we need to keep an eye on as well. This is all about the same time frame, beginning of March. If you really want to understand the economy and what's going on, you need to listen to her. Whitney Webb is a fantastic reporter. She dives in deep into the dark places of finance, cryptocurrency, who's running the show, who's pulling the strings. And I highly suggest, listening to one of her podcasts or one of her interviews. She's really smart and she ties all the pieces together. So very important if you're interested in knowing what's going on with the economic stuff and all of that. And I left the link down below for this video as well. Now, other than that, there's also some other strangeness going on. The Epoch Times is reporting in California that this is what they're doing over there, interest-free loans to these individuals here. And I emphasize this word over here, okay? For some strange reason, people that weren't born here or, have nothing to contribute here are getting free loans and zero down loans and all kinds of programs coming out of this crazy state. I mean, you can't make this stuff up, folks. You can't make this stuff up. It's all being done on purpose, obviously. Also, this other individual here asking people from Michigan if they could open up their homes to, again, these people here. All right, I'm emphasizing that word right there. I don't want to say it. And so, again, strange stuff going on. Very strange, very weird. And so we saw that story coming out. If you really want to understand this whole border situation, here's a guy who spent, I believe, 25 years. I listened to this whole interview. He's obviously written a book about it. And he gives it to you straight. There's no sugarcoating. This is what's been going on. and he finally had to resign because he couldn't take it anymore. It was like, this is ridiculous. What are we standing here for? You know, but this is a really good interview. If you want to check it out, I left the link down below. Also, while all this stuff was going on, some sneakiness, real sneakiness was going on over here with this garbage right here. This was approved for pigs. All right. This is really frightening. You know, many of us that didn't take those, injections, now, if we decide to eat, this stuff here, we're going to have that nonsense in our systems. So I would say pay extra attention to what you're putting in your body right now, folks, because it's being done without consent. It's being done, for our benefit, so-called. It's not. Remember, these psychopaths that run this planet think there are too many people on it, and they're trying their best to sterilize and reduce the population. They've said this in their own words. This is not conspiracy anymore, friends. This is fact. And if you don't want to see it, that's up to you. But this is what they believe, and this is what they've been trying to do for about 140 years. Goes way back into the 1800s. Okay? And so this is another one of their schemes and programs, because God only knows what's in this little bottle, okay, that is going to affect your reproductive organs. Also, this psychopath, and Epic Times is also reporting on this. The WHO is reporting on this new mysterious illness coming out of nowhere. And again, they're trying to scare everyone into, taking this garbage over here, and also to keep people in fear, and also to get people to fall in line with their agenda, which is control humanity in any way possible. So keep an eye on this story as well. Remember, I said in a couple of videos past, look for there could be some medical issues going on, or again, another planned event. Could be this fall in September when we have the lunar eclipse in Pisces. So this is another possibility here that we really need to pay attention to. Again, stay out of fear. It's just information. Do what you can to avoid this nonsense, and so stay out of fear. Also, we had at the same time, we had some strange circles occurring. Now, some say it was SpaceX, and, some of it could be, but some of it, I know that they have the technology and they're doing all kinds of strange stuff in space. So this one, I believe, was over Norway. At the same time, this one was in Iceland. And so we could see these things. And there could be portals. They could be some sort of energy shift that, they're not being explained to us. And so these are things, again, I've said, pay attention to the weather, pay attention to the skies, because they're going to get weirder and stranger as the years unfold. Also, one of Mr. T's family members became a co-chair at the RNC. You got to love this one. I mean, talk about the Trump train moving forward. Here we have Lara Trump, elected co-chair of the RNC. This is all around that same time frame, from the beginning of the month, and the eclipse and Mars in Aquarius. So you could see how the astrology reflects some of the stuff that's going on. And I'm sure there's a whole lot more that I just can't see and I can't get to, but this gives you an idea. If you really want to understand all of that nonsense going on with the Texas fires, Greg Reese does a fantastic job also talking about these weapons here that are being used. And he puts out some great videos. They're short, 5 minutes, 6 minutes. I highly encourage to subscribe to him. He does a fantastic job, and you might want to keep an eye on those as well. I left the link down below. Now let's get into the astrology for the month, or at least until the end of the month. We have on the 19th here, we have Mercury entering its shadow period. Now what this means is Mercury, as we know, is going to go retrograde on April the 1st. So the shadow period represents when the planet is slowing down to a certain point before it goes retrograde. It starts to slow down. And then when it goes direct, it comes back out at that same degree. So for instance, here's Mercury at 16 degrees of Aries. It'll keep going a little bit further, then it'll retrograde, then it'll go back until it reaches and goes direct on 16 degrees of Aries. So what this is called is the shadow period, because it's slowing down and the energy is slowing down. And so what is actually happening is that, and Mercury's in Aries, so we find ourselves a lot sharper, more quick-witted. And but notice it's conjunct the North Node, meaning what are we doing? Where are we going? We need to go in a new direction. This is what we're mostly thinking on a subconscious basis. We also have Chiron, the wounded healer, also conjuncting Mercury at this time on the 19th. So this is some sort of healing taking place, or needing to care for ourselves or tend to ourselves or take better care of ourselves. And here in the United States' chart, it's also in Chiron, is in Aries. So as you can see here, there's a lot of healing that's taking place, whether we realize it or not. Sometimes just laying low and not doing anything and, enjoying nature, as I've been doing this entire year. And I highly suggest it for all of you, get out there in nature, go for a hike, enjoy the water if you can, go on the great outdoors. It's very therapeutic. All right, leave your cell phones at home, or at least leave them in the car, and enjoy nature, because it realigns you. And so this right now is the time frame where we're reflecting and we're appreciating. And it's in the 4th house of the United States, so it has to do with feelings, the homeland. And so there's a healing taking place, especially with all this Pisces energy right here. Okay, so this is a very important time as Mercury begins its slowdown. Now, as we go into this time frame, March the 19th through the 20th, we have International Astrology Day. This is because the sun enters Aries, and that's the first sign of the Western zodiac. And Aries is usually representative of action and the springtime and new activity and plants starting to grow and the sun starting to return. So this is International Astrology Day. So a great time if you're studying astrology. Appreciate it. We also have, at the same time, the March equinox in the Northern Hemisphere. As you can see here, equinox is Latin for equal. And so we see the sun reflecting exactly on half of the planet, and the other half is dark. But this is where the sun begins to make its ascent. This is why in this time of the year, and by the way, years ago, this was the actual new year in March, around the equinox, when the sun passed over the equator right here. It began to go up. This is why, like I said in the past, we have celebrations around this time of the year. The Catholic religion and the Jewish religion, and I'm sure the Islamic religion, they all have celebrations around this time of the year about the sun returning, S-U-N, because the sun is beginning its ascent over the equator and going up into the highest point in the sky. So when we have more daylight and we have more energy, we have more light, our bodies feel better, we feel happier, more content. This is what it's all about. So this is the March equinox. So at the same time, as you can see here, we have quite a bit of stuff going on. But we also have the sun entering the sign of Aries. Okay, this happens late on the 19th into the 20th. So what is Aries? Aries represents impulse, impatience, selfishness. It's the first sign of the zodiac. It represents the self. So wherever this is in your actual birth chart, that's the area that's being lit up. Okay, but on the positive side, it can be fearless, ambitious, confident, and a trailblazer. So this energy, there's the sun entering Aries right there. And now the energy begins to shift. So we feel more motivated. We want to go, we want to travel, we want to explore, and we want to do. And because Aries represents that kind of energy, it's a fire energy. So here we have all this Pisces energy, and now the sun is entering a strong fire sign along with Mercury. So the energy continues to build. It continues to build a little bit more, a little bit more. Now, Aries represents a lot of different areas of life. It represents military. It represents conflict. It represents drive. It represents cars. It represents, anything to do with challenging itself. So once again, wherever this is in your birth chart, you feel this challenging energy that I've got to move forward. I've got to do this. I've got to accomplish. I've got to, better myself. I've got to improve my health. I've got to exercise. Whatever it is, this time of the year is definitely a favorable time to do that, especially with the solar eclipse coming up on April the 8th. So this is a shift in the energy that's coming. And then the United States' chart, as you can see here, it just enters Aries, and it's going to go into the 4th house. So over the next 3 weeks, 4 weeks, this sun will be in the 4th house. So there should be a lot of activity in the United States. Again, could be military, could be conflicts, could be people asserting themselves, people rising up. All of that falls under this umbrella of Aries going through the 4th house. Not only that, it also begins to square, see, the natal chart of the United States, the Venus, the Jupiter, and then, of course, the Sun. So this is a challenging aspect in astrology. So we have to say, yeah, there could be a little friction. There could be a little, emotional issues coming our way with regards to this stuff, okay? But the idea is, again, to recognize what's happening. And I know many of you that listen to me and follow many other people know what's going on. So don't take it personally. Just prepare. Just prepare and stay out of fear. That's my motto now. Prepare, stay out of fear. And so that can make it a game changer, and surround yourself with people that are on your level, that understand what's going on. Not just politics. I'm talking about just really appreciating life. Okay? So now, on the 22nd, the whole dynamics changes again. Now, Mars is the ruler of Aries, and Mars is a fire sign. And here is a perfect example of fire and water. That's what Pisces represents, the two fish. And here is Mars half submerged in the water. So here you have a fiery get up and go symbol or sign that has to still stay in water. So this is not exactly an easy position for Mars in Pisces. And as you can see here, it goes all the way through April the 4th. So this is a time where we reflect upon ourselves. We're more compassionate towards ourselves. We're more sensitive to everything else around us. And the two fish, feel a little awkward with Mars and Pisces because now they have to look up. They have to look at themselves. And Pisces is not a sign that likes to look at itself. In other words, because then it starts to feel sorry for itself, because the modus operandi of Pisces is to give and to be compassionate and gentle, and creative. Mars is about, let's go out and fight. Let's go out and war. Let's go out and challenge ourselves. And so Mars in Pisces, not exactly a comfortable position. And so we're going to feel this energy as well, even though Mars is going through, the Sun is going through Aries. So here it is in the United States' chart. Mars enters Pisces, again in the 3rd house of communication. So you can see here we still have 4 planets in Pisces in the 3rd house of communication. What this is suggesting, again, more information coming out in the next week or so about things related to, ready, water, anything to do with water. Pay attention because Pisces is a water sign. So there could be issues around, the sea, rivers, water having to do with floods and flooding. Okay, pay attention to the weather, especially if you live near water, large bodies of water. Ships at sea. This is another area, that we could see conflict with ships in the seas or something along those lines. Again, I'm just throwing out examples of this alignment, Religious, there could be some religious stuff going on here too, religious conflicts. This is a time of forgiving ourselves or forgiving others. Mars in Pisces is very forgiving. It's also a very healing energy. So let's not forget that. Pisces is very much a healer because of its sensitivity. And the psychic ability should be very strong, continue to be very strong. So tune into your higher consciousness. And so this is a time where from now to the end of the month, where the energy is still a little weird and wonky, because Mars is not in a very strong position, but the Sun is. That should help a little bit. But we're coming into a time where we can see some conflict, maybe around legal matters, around water, around drug addiction, alcohol. Be careful of all of that as well. Scandals could be coming out around this time as well. And there could be endings also because of the lunar eclipse in Libra coming up, and I will talk about that in a minute. So, but this is all about the next couple of weeks should be about information coming forth. Oh, by the way, and Pisces does represent health as well, so there could be more stuff about illnesses and diseases and all that other stuff that we need to pay attention to. Okay, so keep an eye on that. Now, let's talk about this lunar eclipse in Libra. I touched upon it in the last video. And what are we talking about here? We're talking about a second eclipse in Libra. The first one was on October, I believe the 14th of 2023, and I do have a slide for that. This one's on March the 25th, and this is when the sun is in the way of the sun is in, the Earth is in the way of the sun, blocking out the moon, which is sort of a cycle that represents endings or completions or realizations. And so this is going to be very important wherever this is in your actual birth chart. That's the area that's going to be changing. Or over the course of the next 6 months, something in that area of your chart will have to be let go of or change in some way. So what does Libra represent? Relationships, balance, fairness, legal system, justice. These are the things that are all going to continue to be revealed to us on a personal level and on a global level. So partnerships of all kinds may start breaking down or realizing they're coming to an end or conclusion on some level, you see? And so this is highlighting that energy. Here is that path for that eclipse. It's going to be right over here, okay? And I left a link for this website if you want to read more about this eclipse. And so here is where it enters, and it's still, as you can see, the United States and South America. So we're absolutely in for that energy affecting us. Now, here's that first eclipse that I was talking about on October 14th. This one went over the United States, again, over Texas, New Mexico, through the Four Corners, and this region. So something is developing along this path. If you live around this path, this could be an important time for you. Maybe you're restructuring, remodeling, opening up something new. Maybe you've moved to this area. Very important time for many of you, especially up in the Oregon coast here along this coastline. And so especially Texas, because the April 8th eclipse is going to go over Texas again. As a matter of fact, I think I have a slide. Yeah. This was the first eclipse over the United States on August the 21st, 2017, and it went this way. Then we had another one here, didn't quite reach all the way down, but it was on June the 10th, okay, on the northern part. I think it came down a little bit. And here's the other one, October 14th. And of course, the big enchilada is the solar eclipse on April the 8th that is going to go this way. So you could see when we have this kind of activity over a region of the planet, it's almost guaranteed that there's going to be changes in those areas, whether it's societal changes, whether it's governmental changes, whether it's physical changes, earthquakes or, weather anomalies. This is all possible. Look at all this energy that's building up over the United States. And we could see the symbolism as the United States continues to change. The craziness in the politics. People just getting frustrated where they are and wanting to move. People's belief systems are just completely changing. You see? So we are seeing a lot of changes in the United States, which will absolutely continue. This is not going away. This is going to affect us for the next few years. So this is what we're seeing right now. Here's that lunar eclipse full moon in Libra. It's at 5 degrees, wherever this is in your actual birth chart. That's the area that gets lit up. And so if you're a Libra, an Aries, a Cancer, or even a Capricorn or rising, this will absolutely affect you. And so it'll be favorably aligned to Pluto, which is suggesting some sort of transformation or ending or completion of some kind for many of you. And so, again, it depends on your birth chart. But for the most part, this is a strong realization that change is in the air and that something has to give, something has to change. And that's what I'm seeing here. Now, here it is in the United States' chart, and that is, again, in the 10th house of status. This has to do with the public officials, government. It has to do with the leader in government. And as I said earlier, Biden is no longer Biden. I think the poor bastard belongs in an old age home because he's just completely lost any marbles or realization of what's going on. And this is not me saying this. This is listening to some of the Secret Service people that have been brave enough to talk about it. How they have to carry a giant suitcase around with all kinds of diapers and medications and stuff like that just to keep them going. That's what they said. And so this is the end of that. This is, we're seeing the end of something, the end of justice, the legal system, people in command. By the way, there were quite a few people that retired in Washington. Some of the senators and Congress people were retiring, so they were not going to seek election in 2024 because they must know something's coming. But it is definitely highlighting the United States and changes in the United States in some way. And again, the financial changes, the changes to the belief systems, that's all being highlighted here. And there is a square to the United States as Venus. We have a square to the Jupiter. And so, it's like people around the United States are changing. The people, connected to the United States are changing. And of course, we have this influx of people coming from all over the world, through the southern border. And I mean, it's just incredible. And so we need to stop that in some way. Go through the legal process. We'll take in as many people as we can, but we have to go through it legally. Anyway, so, I want to make one major announcement. I am working with a team of friends on some new projects, and they'll be coming soon. I'm going to be making this announcement in the next couple of days or so. And so look for that coming. I think you guys will be really excited about it. And I can't give you too much information right now, but we're in the works of putting something together that's going to be really special. Anyway, friends, remember, we are spiritual beings having a human experience. That's all we are. And the more you realize that and the more you appreciate your life and you appreciate others, the happier you are. Okay? If you like this video, please, press like, comment, share, and subscribe to this channel. And I will talk to you guys soon. Bye for now.